welcome. I hope you guys are doing good. Thank you so much for joining me. Today's reading is the person on your mind. What are the regrets in regards to you, and whatever happened between you and this person. All right. So we have 3 groups for you to choose from: Group 1, Group 2, and Group 3. Feel free to pause the video if you do need some extra time to choose your group, but I will see you guys in your readings. Hey, welcome. If you've chosen the first group, then this reading could be for you, the person on your mind. What are their regrets about you? So to start off with, we have the Temperance card in reverse, we have 6 of Wands upright, and we have the Queen of Cups in reverse. So you could be asking about any kind of connection. If romantic messages do come up, feel free to just reject it or kind of rearrange it in a way that it makes sense for you and the connection that you're asking about. All right. Okay, so we have Temperance in reverse, 6 of Wands upright, and the Queen of Cups in reverse. So it feels like the person you're asking about, they regret not meeting you halfway. They regret failing to stay grounded, letting their emotions go off the rails, not being calmer, not being gentle, instead of being reactive. They wish they were calm instead of being reactive. They regret not showing you that they understood your perspective, that they understood where you were coming from. They feel bad that they didn't have more urgency in some situation involving you, not acting soon enough. But at the same time, like, while also not being patient during the times it mattered most. They do feel remorse for not trying to help you with something, and for not being a comfort to you. For some of you, they regret trying to control you, even in small ways, and some of you may not have even noticed that they were trying to control you and manipulate you in these small ways. But they knew they were, and that is something that they regret. In some situations, they do regret being too extreme. For some of you, they feel bad that they didn't communicate with you in a more meaningful and, again, calm and graceful way. And they regret not accepting and appreciating the peaceful connection with you, or that they could have had with you. They regret not expanding on it and recognizing the value of your calm presence and, just acting too impulsively on, within themselves. They also regret treating your connection so casually and, disposable. They wish they had shown you more empathy and healing their own stuff before meeting you, or before something happened between you guys. They wish that they had sorted out their own stuff a lot sooner. And even though they have these regrets, they still might not feel ready. Like, they feel that they still have a lot of growing to do. They do regret that they've missed a chance with you, or, they potentially missed a chance with you, that there's no kind of, going back. And they also feel bad that they didn't try to learn more about your achievements, maybe, or maybe they saw your achievements but didn't really say anything about it. Like maybe they wish they had, bigged you up a bit more or gave you a bit more encouragement. Like they wish that they had acknowledged your wins. It's like they maybe saw it and recognized it themselves, but maybe they didn't actually say it to you. They regret not finding out more about you in general and even downplaying you in certain ways, even if that wasn't to your face. It feels like they regret the low-key jealousy that they felt towards you and not seeing you as someone they could win with, collaborate with, and kind of just letting their ego get in the way of your connection, you know? They regret feeling intimidated by you, by your success, or, by certain achievements that you've made. And, they regret not acknowledging how far you've come in life or some area of your life. It feels like they regret watching you from the sidelines almost and letting their pride stop them from cheering you on and encouraging you. They feel remorse for not understanding or for underestimating your leadership and the way you do things. They regret underestimating your strength as well, your resilience, and they regret not matching your strength and your ambition. It feels like they regret not matching you where you were at. It feels like they wish they had been emotionally available, and they regret still not being able to be emotionally available as well. They regret being too withdrawn, not appreciating and utilizing the emotional support that you give, and taking your empathy and your calm for granted. I think I said this earlier in the reading, but they do regret being emotionally manipulative, and or passive aggressive, not protecting your emotional boundaries, maybe not protecting you in general. It feels like they regret being too focused on their own emotions, their own pain, that they couldn't see or help you with yours and kind of fully show up for you. They regret being so moody, maybe unpredictable, and projecting some of their own wounds onto you. They realize that it wasn't fair. They didn't create a safe emotional space for you in the relationship that they had with you. And they regret not trusting their intuition as well when it comes to you and not being more honest about their emotional state. Maybe they feel if they were more honest with you, maybe certain things would be different. But it also feels like they realized maybe things wouldn't be different because, I don't know, maybe things haven't really changed much for them. But it feels like they wish they were in like a better place, if that makes sense, or that they knew how to be in a better place so that they could show up for you. So we have I deserve better. We have you have a beautiful smile and beautiful eyes. We have take the lead. Our connection is doing more harm than good. This connection will forever affect me. I will do everything in my power to protect you. We have you are loved. You need a big hug. Forgiveness heals. Okay, and we also have elevator, rise above. And we also have union of love. So with you are loved, at some point, or maybe even now, they recognize that they felt loved by you, or that you had a deep care for them. And they regret that they may not have that anymore, or that they don't have that anymore, or have access to you in some way. So with I deserve better, this may not be a regret, or it's not specifically coming out as a regret, but they do recognize that you deserve better. And this may not even be related to them. I mean, there could be a separate thing in regards to them. But just in general, they realize and recognize that you deserve a whole lot better than maybe what you've had in the past, in terms of maybe relationships, maybe in other areas of your life as well. With this connection will forever affect me, they regret actually how much you've impacted them and impacted their lives. It's because you're always in the back of their mind. Even if this person isn't in your life anymore, they, still remember you, they still remember your words, your impact, and they regret how much you've had an effect on them. So for some of you, please only take this if it makes sense, but with rise above, for some of you, they regret not rising above you at some point, maybe in the past, like when you guys were a bit closer, they thought that they would rise above you. I mean, this could be in like physical sense, emotional sense, spiritual, in terms of success or popularity. I don't know, we have the Six of Wands there, but in some way they felt like they would rise above you. But they didn't, and maybe they regret having that perspective in the first place, or maybe they regret not actually kind of either meeting you at your level or surpassing you in some way. Okay, with take the lead, they regret you having to be the one to take the lead in maybe the relationship that you had with them, and they regret it because they could have felt or could feel weak because of you having to take the lead, maybe on a consistent basis. And that is something that they regret as well. With forgiveness heals, they could regret you not forgiving them, if that is, the case between you guys, or if you distance yourself from them, they could see that as you not forgiving them for something, and they regret that. They also, so below forgiveness heals, it says time to release repressed anger as it's blocking your health and happiness. So they could also regret not releasing their own repressed anger, not even towards you, towards themselves, towards other things in their life or their past. They regret that their relationship, that your connection with them did more harm than good with this card here. They regret that your union wasn't one of love, or this didn't end up being one filled with love. So with I will do everything in my power to protect you, it actually feels like the opposite. It feels like they regret making you feel unsafe in some way, or making you feel like you had to protect yourself when it came to them. I don't know if this is going to sound weird to some of you, but with you need a hug, it feels like they regret not getting a hug from you. You know, this person, maybe they felt safe, or your hugs or any kind of affection you gave them, it felt really good. So it feels like they regret that they don't have that anymore. Maybe there was like this last occasion where you guys saw each other, and maybe, you know, they didn't get a hug from you and they could regret that. But yeah. And with you have a beautiful smile and beautiful eyes, it also feels like they regret not making you feel beautiful, or not um, complimenting you a bit more. Yeah. Do you have more? Okay. So that is all I have. For those of you who chose this group, I do hope it could be helpful. I'm wishing you guys the absolute best. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Please take care of yourselves. Bye. Hey, welcome. If you've chosen the second group, then this reading could be for you, the person on your mind. What are their regrets when it comes to you? Okay. So we have the Hermit in reverse, Death card also in reverse, and the Two of Swords upright. So it feels like they regret avoiding you, maybe acting like you don't matter, or acting like your feelings don't matter, maybe your perspective on some things don't matter. They regret making you feel isolated, not opening up to you, maybe not allowing you to open up to them, being reserved. And it also feels like they regret not explaining themselves properly, or going silent without an explanation. They wish that they had let you in instead of shutting you out. They regret thinking that you were against them, not on their side, weren't for them, that you wouldn't understand them, and you didn't have their best interests at heart. Maybe they realize now that they were wrong, you know, but that's how they felt at the time. They feel bad that they weren't more affectionate towards you. They feel bad that they didn't show you more love. And it feels like they wish they hadn't chosen the comfort of their solitude or their comfort zone. And they feel like it was way easier for them to just, you know, run away, or, you know, again, avoid things, than to have some sort of shared growth between you guys. They regret not taking accountability. Um, but having said that, it feels like they don't feel like it's too late to change things and to better your relationship. They could even feel quite hopeful. But they do regret assuming and not doing enough to seek clarity, being too wrapped up in their own stuff that they couldn't really, you know, see your feelings and see your perspective, but also not telling you that they felt lost. And in the process of them feeling lost, that they nearly lost you, or that they did lose you. And that is something they regret. They regret wasting time, not being wiser, and not changing and maturing with you. They regret holding on to their baggage, they regret holding on to their comfort zones as well, not growing with you, avoiding necessary conversations, necessary changes. They regret the truth of their feelings as well, or not expressing that through communicating with you. And they kind of just regret not meeting you with honesty and not sitting in the discomfort of their feelings instead of just avoiding it and shutting down. Like they feel like your relationship would be much better if they hadn't done that, you know? So for some of you, it even feels like they regret not closing out a past relationship and not seeing the potential or not allowing your connection to grow naturally and trusting the process. For some of you, they could regret not letting go of a toxic relationship. Perhaps it affected them to the point, maybe it affected your relationship. For others of you, maybe they, this it could be quite simple in the fact that they were maybe seeing someone else while they were with you. But for others of you, it could be a bit more than that. But yeah, they regret not allowing your connection to grow. So they could see themselves as having a spiritual side, and it feels like they regret not sharing that with you. They regret staying stagnant in general, to be honest. And that feels like the basis of their regrets. They regret being stagnant, they regret not growing, they regret avoiding things, maybe avoiding you, avoiding, certain conversations. They regret not taking responsibility, accountability, running away, not being affectionate. And that feels like, the basis of what their regrets are. And for some of you, they could regret being torn between you and another person, creating doubt in your mind about them. But this could be separate, actually, from being torn between you and another person. But they do regret not choosing you when it mattered and resolving any tension, resolving any conflict. And they regret acting like everything was fine when they knew they were being deceitful, and they regret choosing wrong when it comes to you as well. So moving on, we have affection. We have I hope you can understand, curious, you are so sexy, is it worth it? I'm worried you don't feel the same. Whatever you're thinking about, don't do it. Don't believe the shitty thoughts that you have. We also have imagination, alien, and love life. So with whatever you're thinking about, don't do it. It feels like they regret letting their intrusive thoughts win. It feels like they did things that they regret doing. Maybe they did certain things impulsively without thinking, and they regret that. And with don't believe every shitty thought that you have, it also feels like they regret the negative thoughts that they had. And again, this may not be about you directly, these negative thoughts. but it feels like they do regret the negative thoughts that they had, and maybe this impacted your relationship in some way, and they regret the effect that it had. So with affection, I'm getting like a weird message that may not seem like it has anything to do with affection. For some of you, maybe you could figure out why it might have a connection to affection in regards to you and your situation with this person. But it feels like they regret having like this, what is it called? The give and take, like giving to receive, receiving to give. No, giving to receive kind of mentality when it comes to you. And with is it worth it? It feels like they regret. What's that word I'm looking for? They regret not thinking your connection was worth it, or something else within your relationship. They regret even questioning it, to be honest, you know? Like they could feel very, very, very silly for questioning the worth of you and the connection that they have towards you. So with curious, it actually feels like they regret being too curious of other people outside of your relationship. They could feel like they wasted too much time focusing on other people. And with alien, it feels like they regret being kind of alien to you. Maybe not being easy to read, or not being easy to figure out, maybe not talking about themselves enough, not building or creating more depth on their part. For some of you, it's that they regret doing things that kind of seemed out of place. And with imagination, it's kind of similar to whatever you're thinking about, don't do it. It feels like, again, like maybe they acted on certain intrusive thoughts. And with imagination, it feels like they let their imagination run wild when it came to you. And it feels like they regret that, because it feels like they realized maybe things were actually a lot simpler than they were kind of making it out to be in their head. They could also regret not having a positive impact on your love life. They could also regret not giving you certainty in terms of their feelings. With I'm worried you don't feel the same. Maybe at some point you felt that way. Maybe they knew you felt that way, but kind of didn't give you any reassurance, and that could be something they regret. And with I hope you can understand, it feels like they regret that you might not understand them now, or maybe even might see them as a little weird, and some of the things that they've done as a little weird. And with you're so sexy, it feels like they regret not telling you, or just not letting you know how attractive they did find you. But that is all I have for those of you who chose this group. I really do hope it could be helpful. I'm wishing you guys the absolute best. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope I see you guys again soon. Please take care of yourselves. Bye. Hey, welcome. If you've chosen the third group in this reading, it could be for you. The person on your mind, what are their regrets when it comes to you? Okay, so to start off, we have the Eight of Wands upright, King of Swords in reverse, the Seven of Swords in reverse. So it feels like they regret rushing into things without properly thinking it through. They feel like maybe they did too much at the beginning, maybe impulsively without really thinking about, long term. Like they feel like they move too fast, possibly creating, like, I don't know if this is the right word, but like possibly creating burnout in your connection instead of creating like a nice slow burn, if that makes sense. It's almost like they wish they hadn't let things fizzle out, or when things are like super like passionate at the beginning and then it kind of just fizzles out. It feels like they regret maybe coming on too strong and not letting that kind of like draw out, if that makes sense. And even though they regret being kind of impulsive in some ways, they also regret not acting faster when it comes to the things that mattered. They regret not communicating more clearly and directly with you. And they're also worried that the moment for something has passed, that the time for something has passed. And again, like, they regret being too impulsive in some ways and they regret not being impulsive enough in other ways. So yeah, they do worry that the moment has gone, you know? They regret losing your interest, even if that's not true on your end. In their mind, they could feel like they've lost your interest. Maybe it is true for some of you guys, but they wish they hadn't made a move too quickly. For some of you, they wish that they hadn't sent a message to you too prematurely. They regret not waiting before saying something. And they regret not following through on their intentions, possibly getting you to feel less guarded or being less defensive themselves. Could be something different for each of you, though, in regards to what their actual intentions were that they didn't follow through on. But yeah, they wish that they had slowed down to get to know you better as well, so that you could get to know them better too. For some of you, they do feel like they let their excitement override giving you certainty or depth or creating some type of stability, like a foundation. And for some of you, they regret disappearing on you, even if it was unintentional, which for some of you it could have been unintentional. Then I feel like I'm saying that wrong. Unintentional, yeah. Sorry. So even if it could have been unintentional, them disappearing on you, they regret it, They especially regret disappearing before they were able to give you something meaningful and or more concrete. They regret not being intentional with their actions while they had the chance. And in some way, they regret not making sure you were ready. Ready for what? I don't know. That could be different for each of you again. Maybe you'll know what, that's referring to. But they do wish that they were more present and in the moment. They regret worrying too much about what other people thought and not saying what was on their mind and how they felt while they had the chance. I think I might have already said that, but they do regret being emotionally distant, maybe being surface level. They regret using logic to shut down your feelings or dismiss that you even had feelings for them. And for some of you, they regret using logic to dismiss their own feelings, So for some of you, they do regret manipulating you or playing some sort of game with you or trying to. And for some of you, like, they regret ever wanting to try and control you, even if they didn't kind of get to that point. They also regret twisting facts or always thinking they were right and their kind of perception on things were, was the only perception that kind of mattered, or the only perception that was correct. It feels like they regret being too small-minded. It feels like they weren't grasping the bigger picture, like, and everything else, like, and your feelings and your intentions and stuff like that. And they were kind of only like maybe zeroed in on their own, their own thoughts and what was going through their head. Like tunnel vision almost. So yeah, for some of you, they do regret not showing a softer side to them, and maybe a side to them that's understanding and calm. They wish that they hadn't been so rigid at times, holding on too tightly to their authority and a need to be in control of things. And again, like, I don't know if this is something that affected you or not, or something that you noticed, but they also regret not moving with integrity. For some of you, that they do wish they had been more fair, more emotionally available again when it mattered. They wish they hadn't been so afraid about being vulnerable and feeling exposed. And they kind of regret potentially losing your respect. So we also have, I'm afraid, we have back that arse up. We have, it's not just physical, it's also spiritual. I don't feel like I can be my truest self around you. I want to be of service to you. We also have nomad. It says shame, regret, and guilt, those are just BS. We also have time to let go. We have church, temple, mosque, recognize your spiritual authority, busy times of multitasking, and dawn of love. So it actually feels, with shame, regret, and guilt, those are just BS. It feels like they regret not feeling regret and shame sooner. Like, before, they could have like kind of felt that they had nothing to feel sorry for. But now it feels like with distance, it's made them kind of see things a bit differently. So yeah, they regret maybe not having more empathy and emotional awareness sooner. And with I'm afraid, they do regret letting their fears get in the way of your connection. I think I said earlier, maybe a fear of being vulnerable, showing a calmer side to them. So with I want to be of service to you, it feels like they regret not doing more acts of service for you. They could regret not giving you more of their time. So with busy times of multitasking, underneath it says take charge of your schedule during this busy time and honestly assess your underlying reasons for being so busy. But the main part that's coming away from this card is the take charge. And it feels like they regret not taking charge of this connection in a more grounded way, in a way that kind of works for you, works for them. So with church, temple, mosque, recognize your spiritual authority. For some of you, it feels like they definitely regret not connecting with you on a more spiritual level. Even if they don't know or, see you as a spiritual person, like they definitely feel they were too surface level and they feel like they should have done more. And it feels like they see now that your connection was more than just a physical one, it was also a spiritual one, and they regret not exploring maybe both sides actually. They could regret not exploring the physical and the spiritual side a bit more. But with Dawn of Love, it says love is rising on the horizon of your life. It feels like maybe, yes, there's some part of them that feels like they've missed a chance, but at the same time, like they feel they don't really know what's beyond the horizon. When you guys see each other again, they don't know what's going to happen. Like in their mind, they're thinking, okay, yeah, maybe I've missed my chance, it's done. But at the same time, there's a part of them feels like, okay, I don't know what might happen, and that there could be something there still in the future. And with I don't feel like I can be my truest self around you. For some of you, they regret feeling that way, like they couldn't be themselves around you. With Nomad, they regret not being grounded, not being settled in their own life, within themselves. With Back That Arse Up, it feels like they regret, for some of you, not having a physical or, I don't know, like an intimate connection with you if it didn't reach that point. But with Time to Let Go, on the back it says move on. So it took me a while to figure this one out because a third party energy didn't really come out in the reading earlier. But for some of you, they could regret not letting go, moving on from someone, something else. Let me see. Maybe while getting to know you. It doesn't really feel like before, it does feel like during. So maybe while they were like getting to know you or, like started speaking to you, stuff like that, they regret not having let go of someone before that time. But yeah, that is all I have for those of you who chose this group. I really do hope it could be helpful. Wishing you guys the absolute best. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope I see you guys again soon. Please take care. Bye.